All right. Looks like we're gonna be good to go. It's recording right now. Recording to the cloud. All right. Hey yo, Kalishnikov Ray.
What up, man?
Yo, what up, man? Hey, do you remember the record?
What record?
Man, Renee by the Lost Boys.
Renee. Oh, that one. Hell's yeah, I remember that, Junks, man.
Fuck yeah. All right. Hey, well, listen, man. What's up, Cornerstoners? My name is Johnny Warbucks, and I am here with Kalishnikov Red. And welcome to our very first installment of Remember the Record. All right. Today we are talking about that hit classic, Renee by the Lost Boys, which was first released as a single back on January 30th, 1996. All right. But before we talk about any of that, in honor of the recent passing of Coolio, and in memory of Lost Boys affiliates Freaky Ta, Mr. Sex, I would like to ask for a quick moment of silence, all right? R.I.P. guys.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. man. That's tough, man. Well, listen. Yeah. All right, look. Before we start talking about Renee, let's quickly share with everybody what we've been listening to recently. And look, man, I'm gonna tell you, I'm a playlist guy. I got a Spotify account, Johnny Warbucks on the Spotify account, and it's October. I tend to be a holiday-centric person. I like to kind of feel like I'm getting involved in the seasons and getting the vibes. And so, you know, Halloween in October, watching a bunch of scary movies, playing scary video games, watching scary TV shows, and listening to, horrorcore. And so if you go to the Johnny Warbucks Spotify, there's a Halloween mix. It's a massive mix. It's got like 666 records plus on it, all either themed around Halloween or just have that dark vibe. Sometimes the songs that samples, you know, music from scary movies and shows and stuff, or it quotes them, or it references them, or it's just like dark stuff. So a lot of like 3 6 Mafia, there's Bone Thugs and Harmony, Esham, Eminem, Tech Nine, Army of the Pharaohs, all those guys would be doing like Necro, all those cats would be doing all that dark stuff, man. And a few other gems. And yeah, it's not all hip hop. There's some random stuff in there, some of like the classic Halloween songs and like other things. So like it's just something you shuffle around and listen to, but it's fun. It keeps you in the vibe, as it were. It keeps you in the vibe. That's what I'm listening to right now.
What I'm listening to, unlike Johnny Warbucks here, I don't do this, not holiday centric, but I do appreciate his perspective. I learn a lot of new songs through his playlists. But right now I'm listening to, myself, which is Kalishnikov Red, Johnny Warbucks. Also listening to this cat, Frisco the Shooter, and Beware. And lastly, I'm listening.
Those cats are nice, man.
No, they are nice. They are nice. I like to listen to a lot of hip hop. So right now I'm listening to British hip hop. The Dave is the guy's name. Conan Prepped, and then some Turkish rap as well. I just like to have my ears, since I like making music. I like to hear world music. So that's what.
I mean, I'll be honest, you've clued me into so much stuff from around the world, dog. I find stuff on occasion, but definitely not on the scale of what you do. And there's definitely a lot of really great music that we kind of like. Anytime we link up, we're always sharing some other stuff. And sometimes, I don't even have to understand what they're talking about. It's just like cadence, it's the music, it's the beats, it's the way that it comes in. And even if I don't register what it is that they're saying or talking about, I'm still inspired to take this vibe and then implement it to my own pen. You know, that happens. It's and a lot of people sleep on it because they're like, man, I don't know what this means. Yeah, sometimes it's just about the vibe.
Oh, it's funny because although they speak in English, half the time I don't know what Busta Rhymes is saying, half the time I don't know what Twista's saying, and half the time I don't know what Bone is saying. But all three of them have the cadence, the energy, the versatility. It's all there. So I agree.
It's a vibe.
It's not about exactly what they say, it's how they say it, how they, like you said, put it to my own pen, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Well, listen, man, I think everybody has come here to, you know, remember the record, and they want to talk about, you know, we want to talk about Renee by the Lost Boys. So what I wanted to do here, yo, is kind of drop like a massive series, like a bomb of just like information. Oh, fun, interesting fact though, like there is like, you know, we said R.I.P. Coolio as he recently passed away. This was like one of the guys, he really put me into music like that, hip hop anyway. And there is an interesting kind of like side note tie-in to the Lost Boys with him. So there was this record that came out, Red Hot Organization. They did an album called America is Slowly Dying, and it was about awareness of the AIDS epidemic, particularly in impoverished and inner cities and everything. And a bunch of artists came together and created different songs. You know, that album included like, you know, the Wu-Tang Clan, Fat Joe, Pete Rock. There was all these cats. But also, Lost Boys did a record. Coolio did a record. And I just thought that was kind of an interesting tie-in as we decided to kind of like give that moment of silence. And I was like, you know, that's weird. That's wild, man. That there was some point where Coolio and Lost Boys connected in some small way. But yeah, man. So here's a breakdown, guys. I'm going to give you a text sheet. This is some research. Let's break it down on the Lost Boys, particularly the song Renee, all right? Obviously, by the Lost Boys, you know, band members, Mr. Cheeks, Freaky Ta, Spig Nice, Pretty Lou. Now, all from South, you know, this is South Jamaica, Queens, hip hop right here. Current members of Lost Boys, not affiliated with this record at all. You know, it's Mr. Cheeks, it's Freaky Ka, and K. Chris. Now, Freaky Ka is Freaky Ta's son. And in the wake of him being fatally shot back in March 1999, RIP, for a mistaken identity after a party, which is just awful. His son has recently picked up the mic and the pen and has been working as Freaky Ka in his wake. I thought that was kind of an interesting side note. But anyway, okay, so this Lost Boys, Cheeks, Ta, Spig Nice, Pretty Lou. The song was recorded back in 1995, and it was originally called A Ghetto Fairy Tale. All right, date of the single release, the actual single itself was January 30th, 1996. The single included the One Dread, One Bald Head clean version of the record, which was first heard on a different album. We'll talk about that in a second. And then they got the Mr. Sex LB Fam dirty version. That was on side A. On side B, you get the clean version of that record, and it's instrumental. All right, and that's the iconic song that we're talking about today, right? First album appearances, that One Dread, One Bald Head version, that first appeared on Don't Be a Menace and South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood, the soundtrack. And that was released January 9th, 96 on Island Records. Whereas Legal Drug Money, the album, the first release of Lost Boys, that was June 4th, 1996 on Uptown Records. And then I also, while looking into this, found out that on May 2nd, 2019, there was a remix version of the original song that was actually released by Wonder Twins, which happens to be Mr. Cheeks and his brother Mad Beats. Yeah, dude, and this other producer, AOB, Andy O'Brien. And that version features Mona Lisa singing this little hook, which originally, that One Dread, One Bald Head version of the song, features a sample from Janet Jackson's It's Funny How Time Flies When You're Having Fun. And you hear that in the record throughout the original. Song was recorded at D&D Recording Studios. That's New York City, West 37th Street, founded by Douglas Grandma and David Loughton they founded that back in the early 90s. The single that we know released on Uptown Records, which was founded by Andre Harrell, 1986, distributed by Universal Music Group. All right. Producers for the record that we know, that we all know and love, the classic, was produced by Mr. Sex, RIP, as of 2010. And a dude that went by Buttnaked, it was Tim Dawg, and it's not D-A-W-G, all right, not Tim Dawg, fuck Compton, not that guy. They were pretty much both credited for every single off of Legal Drug Money. Let's see, written by Mr. Cheeks and Dexter Archer. Songs were ironically around that 420 mark. I don't know if that was done with intent or not. Record was certified gold. It was their biggest hit. On the charts, they got number 33 Billboard Hot 100, number 13 on Billboard Hot R&B Hip Hop Singles, and got number 3 Billboard Hot Rap Singles. By the end of 96, dude, they were still top 100 records, Billboard top chart, number 65 on the Hot R&B Hip Hop Singles, and number 17 on the Billboard Hot Rap Singles. That's at the ending of the run, bro. It's pretty crazy.
That's a lot of good facts there, man. Good props on that information, looking that information up, man.
Yeah, bro. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So let's let's go ahead and start talking about it, man. Let's speak on it. Why don't you open up, man?
Okay, so I have always been a long time hip hop fan, but my time frame, Lost Boys fell in that time frame, which is I'm not okay. I'll preface this by saying I don't disregard good music that came out after 98, but 98 is around the time when where my heart stayed in hip hop. I'm not saying, people like J. Cole and people like SPM and people like so on and so forth later in post 98 weren't good, but that was just, where my heart stopped. So Lost Boys. Okay. The song Renee, I think, has to be one of the best stories in hip hop. I mean, it's comparable to Slick Rick, and I might even say it beats Slick Rick, just to the fact that go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I mean, because just based off what you're talking about right now, like straight up and down, Mr. Cheeks, one of the most slept on storytellers in hip hop, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you look at almost all his record, all of them are stories.
Yep. So I'm not downgrading Slick Rick. I'm not downgrading Outkast. I'm not downgrading even Scarface, who's got some really good stories. But Renee has to be that number one for me. It just is, because it puts you right there with Cheeks. It puts you right there wearing the baggy jeans and the Timbs. It puts you right smoking the blunt. It puts you in that cold New York air, like the taste of the hot dogs. Yeah. I mean, it's just it's one of those songs to me that has no fault. Perfect song from start to finish. The beat amazing, the story is amazing, the visuals is amazing, the fashion is amazing. Just the whole attitude of it is so New York that I put it up there with like Nas' New York State of Mind. Like, it's really New York. And fun fact is, my cousins, they're from Queens, and I was talking to them about the Lost Boys and like if they ever ran into them or if they knew of them, and they chuckled and said they went to high school with them.
Wow.
And I was, damn. So when Freaky Todd died, I mean, they weren't like homies or nothing like that, but like they were affected because it's obviously one of their school class member type people that died. So yeah, I remember when his death happened, which was, I'm not gonna say one of the first hip hop deaths, because there was a lot of deaths before him, but it was like the first hip hop death that I was really conscious about. Because prior to that, you had people like Scott LaRock and all the old school heads, and that's fine. But I mean, it's not fine they died, but it's just that at the time I was a little kid. But when Freaky Todd died, that's when it was like, yo, I was like 96. So let's say I was 90, 82. I was like 14, 15. And it really hit me hard. It really hit me hard. Like it like I don't know why, but it was just, I guess, the first time that I was conscious about a rapper that I really like. And that's the thing too. Freaky Tao wasn't known to be the greatest rapper. He was more of a, but there is a song in particular that he does all by himself where you can see his skills and you can hear his skill.
We can talk about that down the road here too. I think I have reasons to believe anyway.
Yeah. So going back to Renee, it's just a beautiful thing from beginning to end, flawless. It's just art to me. You know, it's Michelangelo piece.
Yo, man. Yeah, I can't remember the first time I heard it, dude. But that beat just like struck such an insane chord with me, man. Dun, dun, dun. I mean, you could feel like the chill in the air when the record hits, you know, and when you watch the music video, and we'll talk about the music video in a little bit, but like it's wintertime in New York, you know, and the story that he's painting is so vivid. There's just like so much unnecessary little pieces where he's talking about like, you know, hey, let me pick up 2 francs, we'll get a couple drinks, we'll walk down the street, you know, Shorty's covering her mouth with the name ring. Like there's just like all these little tiny visuals that are coming in between all of it that make it so vivid. And it's like, if you read it off of paper, it sounds like such a simple record, but man, he goes in so heavy on that story. And of course, like the chorus is such a iconic anthem. I don't think there's anybody that was raised during our time, if they were listening to hip hop, if you say a ghetto love is the law that we live by, boom.
And yeah,
right away, right? There's not, I don't think there's one person, even if they didn't really listen to that music, they're give it up for my shorty, like, you know.
Sorry to interrupt, but that's also something I wanted to say, and you bring it up. Even if you don't listen to that music, listen to that song and you will appreciate the beauty of hip hop. You don't have to listen to any other song in hip hop ever for the rest of your life. But once you hear that, and that's why it's such a relatable song, you know, everybody has had that love. Everybody in some way or another has lost that love. This song, Renee, was a really deep way of losing, but isn't it always a deep way of losing when you lose the first love? You know what I mean? So it definitely is one of those songs that you don't even have to listen to hip hop like it, you know?
I mean, I think that the story is relatable. It's like you said, I mean, you know, in particular, anybody who lost a loved one through violence is going to really it's going to really hit them in a particular way, you know? But you're right. I mean, I think that the impact of losing somebody you love feels sometimes even just like being shot, right? Like it hurts that bad. And so even people who haven't had a tap into like an environment like that can hear this record and feel completely related to the situation at hand, right? We've all had that love, and we've all lost that love at some point. And it is really powerful, dude. It really is. Can I do a funny side note here? So like when we're talking about like something like say Mount Cushmore, right? Like the big weed pioneers of our era of hip hop, right? Most people are going to bring up Be Real, they're going to bring up Snoop Dogg, and they're going to bring up Red and Meth, right? That's Mount Cushmore, right? And then I guess we could look at it the way Big Daddy Kane once referenced it in this one interview I heard, where he's talking about like you got the Rushmore, but then you got like the Titans, right? The gods of the on Mount Olympus, you know, and there you can open it up. I think a lot of people, because they were only there for such a short stunt, sleep on how much weed these people were smoking. these people were smoking, dog. Like so I did a little note on this, right? And so Mr. Cheeks mentions weed, papers, blunt smoke, some kind of weed reference, right? A total in this one record without the hook, a total of 9 times, right? He's talking about smoking throughout the whole thing. He mentions alcohol twice. Drinking a 40, he pours out some beer. So nothing hard, no hard liquor, you know. But I just thought that was really, really funny, dude. Like I was like, damn, man, that's all these guys rap about is just like smoking, you know.
And then the album, it's a lot about like then you know it's just I guess that's the other thing too. Like growing up, I remember turning on Rap City, and this is for the old school heads that can remember this. The original Rap City with the white writing on the side of the video.
Yeah, Rap City right here.
Yeah. So I remember just turning on Rap City and seeing that video so many times. That, the Lexus, the Beamers, and the Benz.
Oh, such a good record.
I remember seeing a lot of Lost Boys, like music videos and music that gets you all that stuff. I saw on BT, but what's really weird is that a lot of people don't know who Lost Boys are. And I'll be talking about, I'll just say like on my Facebook, like just a line off of one of their songs. And they're like, who's that? Is that you? I'm like, no. Like, so it really, I think we have to put some kind of emphasis in that, because like at the time you had people like from Ice Cube on the West Coast, Snoop Dogg, Dre, you had Busta Rhymes, Method Man, Redman, you had, I think around that time was when like Biggie was just starting to appear. So you have like all these legends on both sides. I think they overshadowed Lost Boys.
Yeah.
But you would turn on Rap City and you would watch every video of them. You would hear every song, and you're like, okay, well, how is it that people don't know it like that, And it's a shame, because I mean, they got some really good music, So
stylistically, it is like so iconic to that era. It was a key rapper, and as a duo, it would be like two MCs, right? But as a group like this, it'd be a rapper that highlights, and you'd have some sort of a hype man, right? So like this harks back to Public Enemy, Chuck D, with Flavor Flav. But then like, then Cypress Hill comes out and kind of does the exact same thing, just backwards. Instead of like the lead person having the deep voice, you got Be Real with the nasal, and Sin Dog being in the back, with the deep voice. And Lost Boys did something similar, where with Mr. Cheeks kind of running the program, and then you would have Freaky Ta in the background. But the way they did it was just so different from those other guys, because you got these other people like, yeah, boy, and shit go down, all that. But like he was just like, you can't. Freaky Tom's voice is just like something else, isn't it? I mean, it's just like I mean, I literally have to like create that voice to pretend to even sound like that. You wonder if like he used to like walk around and just be like, yo, like.
The thing, if you listen to 5,000 Problems, where it's just him, he's flowing the whole thing.
It's amazing.
Just like that. You know what I mean? Like so I'm guessing that is his actual voice, how he talks, But like but Renee is, as a writer, it also made me evolve in my writing to be more descriptive and not so vague. And when you're more descriptive, people will relate to those descriptions. If you're vague, people can picture it, but they may not relate to it. So Lost Boys, I mean, from every song, but especially Renee, they get so descriptive. They get so real about the thing. You're like I said, you're literally there. You feel the cold, wind in your face type. I have to apologize for my dog if you guys can hear it, but
it's a live show, people.
It is.
Show got to go on.
But
yeah. I'm trying to think. Like it's just like some of the thing where he's just like, here's a tune about this honey named Renee that I met one day on my way back from John Jay, which is like this criminal justice college in Manhattan, right? And so like you just boom, you're like taken to a spot, and he's like, he meets this girl. Hey, what are you in school for? He's like, she wants to be a lawyer. In other words, Shorty studies law. It's such a simple bar, but it's fantastic. And it's so now we know so much about these people so quickly, like or when he is vague, it's like done so perfectly. He's getting ready to like get down with Shorty, right? And he's like, she started feeling on my chest, I started feeling on the breast, and there's no need for me to discuss the rest. And like so you're like, oh shit, I love it's just the way he does it, the way he writes his stories, dude. It's so good, so good. Or like that part about like the beeper, right? Like that's such a time and place thing, right?
Yeah.
He's like, what does he say? I'm hanging out with my crew. I get a beep from Renee because Renee uses code too. So like, for those of you who didn't grow up with beepers, right? Like, so like when you get a beep from somebody, you get a phone number, and often people will have some sort of an agreement as to like, hey, listen, I'm gonna hit you up. I'm number 3, right? Like, so I'm gonna put my number and then 3, so that 3 is Kalishnikov Red. And so when I go to call him, I know I'm getting ready to talk to Red. And then he turns it around into that sad part. He's like, I get a beep from Renee because Renee uses code too. And yet I'm chatting with her mom, Duke. So when he calls back Renee, it's her mom's that answers. And then like breaks it down and says, meet me over at St. Luke's, another Manhattan, it's a hospital, Manhattan, like all that stuff is just so like sense of place and storytelling that creates such a vivid piece.
So let me take care of this. Keep talking real quick. I'm just take my dog out real quick.
No doubt. What I'll do real quick while he's doing that is quickly break down a little bit about the music video. So like the music video was directed by Frank Sacramento. And he also did the video for Music Makes Me High, but he also like worked with all these other artists. He's worked with like Ultramagnetic MCs, House of Pain, Brand Nubian, Tupac, Funk Dubious, or Mix-a-Lot, to people like Mariah Carey, Brian McKnight, even like Hootie and the Blowfish. Like this dude has made a lot of music videos. This one is super, super legit. So it basically depicts the scenes of New York's Queens and Manhattan, Mr. Cheeks with Renee, Lost Boy crew, depictions of the story, some robbery in action. I thought it was kind of interesting, like, because during the time it was like there was still a bunch of sensory stuff about drugs and stuff, like, and how that's portrayed on music videos and stuff. And so there's a lot of different scenes in the music video where you see Mr. Cheeks, like he's rapping and there's like smoke around him. And so anytime he mentions like blunts or any of that stuff, like you never see him rolling anything or smoking anything. You just see some smoke surrounding him because you couldn't do that. You couldn't do it. Yeah, which is kind of interesting, because when you see a lot of these videos now, it's like people like just like doing some crazy shit on these music videos,
So just real quick, I wanna put this out there because I don't think people understand how deep this, they've never heard it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna spit just a little bar off of their lyrics, and with that bar you can understand why this song is so impactful to the masses. It's she said Renee has been shot, so Cheeks meet me up at St. Luke's. I jumps in the van, wick, I gotta make it there quick. Ayo, the shit's getting mad thick, not even thinking about the pole 9. I'm doing a buck, who gives a fuck? I'm smoking boom on the whole 9. I gotta see what's going on, but by the time I reach the hospital, they tell me Mr. Cheeks Renee is gone. I'm pouring my beer out for shorty who ain't there. I'm from the ghetto, so listen, this is how I shed my tears. I mean, this is why that song is so, this is why we're talking about this song.
Yeah.
This is the impact. This is why this is such a great song, because it just there, you can not listen to the entire song, listen to that, and you're gonna be like, damn, that's poetry in motion. It's reality, as real as it can get. And it like I said, it doesn't matter who you are and what you do. Like listen, you understand why this is such an impactful song.
Yeah, I mean, it's and again, this is sort of like inside news reports into the world of what's happening in these projects and these ghettos and these impoverished inner cities. That me as a white dude from suburbia, you're getting tuned into this stuff, and it's you're becoming a little bit more aware about people's back end stories of like, why certain people are the way they are, or, but you don't know, you can't walk in the shoes of somebody you've never walked in, all of that stuff. And it's just really, really heavy. In the music video, when they're depicting some of that stuff, like, you see Renee like go to a store, she picks up some flowers, and my guess is she's getting them to give to Mr. Cheeks or whatever. And she's walking down the street past a store where there's a robbery in place. And she just was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And dude comes out, panics, bucks, and takes out Renee. And like, you know, later on in the show, you know, or in the video, you see Mr. Cheeks go to the hospital. He finds out that she's gone. He hunts this dude down, goes down into a subway station, hits a bathroom, and dude's in there, and like Cheeks has him, and he's like, that shorty that you blasted in front of that store, you know, that was my girl and stuff. And the dude's like, no, man, no, don't hurt me, man. I didn't know, my bad, you know, it's whatever. And you see Mr. Cheeks like pull out a piece, and like then the video like shows him like walking away. And so you have zero clue if he like decided to handle that or if he just like put this guy down.
You see the beauty of how the videos were produced back in the day?
Yes.
Oh, glitz glamour. It was as rugged and as nasty as the streets of New York.
Gritty.
Like, and there was, that's the, you turn on the video today, and I feel like I see one video, I see all the videos. Man, and
from that time? Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
Like right now, if I turn on 3 videos, exactly the exact same format. Back then, you had a whole production like that. What you just said was like a movie.
Yeah,
like
it was a short film for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, so it definitely. I'm glad we came from that time. I'm glad we got to experience the Lost Boys. I'm glad that they influenced me in how I make my music. I, as a rapper, I have that. Well, I'm not going to be like imitating Freaky Tower Dawg, but I have that cadence as well, you know, where I could get really low and powerful. And yeah, that came, you know, directly from those people, Freaky Tower, you know, Dawg. So yeah, man, it's an awesome thing. You know, I'm grateful that we are sharing this and letting the public know like what the song is, what it represents us, and you know, like what it is, because like I said, a lot of people don't even know Lost Boys. You know what I mean?
No, I'm telling you right now, I mean, music is more accessible than it's ever been. And hopefully people will listen to this and are inspired to peep the song and go and look up the video on YouTube or whatever. Go back and listen to Legal Drug Money, you know, from top to bottom. You know, it is an incredible record. It has got just one after the other. It's one of those few albums where like you really can like just play it from beginning to end. And what's interesting too is that it's so much of it is just about having fun. It's just about like party. You know, I mean, it's songs like this and you know, Channel Zero and stuff like that, where they really get into the grimy aspect of what reality is.
You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 100%. Right. Those are probably like the 3 biggest examples on the album. But like a lot of the rest of it is it's just having fun. You know.
That's why it's good.
I mean, I put it in the vein of like, you know, like the Alcoholics, like just party music, like just and these were songs that were played in the clubs. You know, like you know, block parties and barbecues and stuff. Like, you know, if you were gathering with people and you just wanted to have something to vibe to, like again, I mean, just top to bottom, it's an album, and the rest of the catalog is dope too. But like in particular, Legal Drug Money, man, that's one that everybody needs to take a look at.
And I will say this too, I in the Legal Drug Money, there is one of the versions that's of Renee, that's the remix. And I heard that one when I bought the album. I bought the album. It's like some 90s, but when I bought the album
over at Sam Goody's, when you went to the wall to go get your lifetime guarantee sticker.
But I will say that the version of Renee that's my favorite is the one off the video. I think I can't remember the name of that guy who actually
R.I.P. That's Mr. Sex.
Mr. Sex, right? So like I like that version the best. The other versions are fine. That version to me is number one. Like it's yeah.
so when I was looking into a little bit of backstory on that dude, and what kind of blows my mind about him is like he just was in the right place at the right time, connecting with these cats like Tim Dawg, who in turn had insight in Uptown. and brought these guys together. Like, I mean, the Lost Boys Legal Drug Money album was pretty much done. You know, they recorded almost everything in 95, 96 was just coming around and they were ready to go. And this dude, Mr. Sex, shows up with like 4 or 5 different beats. And it was, and like the record company was like, it's already done. You know, like we don't need this. And it was the Lost Boys who were like, no, like remix this shit. Shop it around radio stations so people are listening to it and get it on some soundtracks. And they kind of all did this all by their own on their own, and so that the record label had no choice but to feed into this. And so thankfully, because of this connect with Mr. Sex, we got the album we got. Because the original song, like you said, it's cool. The one that's off of the Don't Be a Menace in South Central Drinking Your Juice in the Hood. That's the one with the Janet Jackson sample. One dread, one bald head, you know, that version. It's cool. It's cool. It's a chill record. But man, when you hear it in contrast to this one, it's not even, it doesn't even come close. You know what I mean? It just doesn't come close.
The other version is a record. It's a cool record. But this version is like a movie. You know? Like, it's not a cool record. This version, like, you can see it here. If you were ever lucky to watch the video, it fits. It's like a movie, man. Like, straight up and down. Like, that's why.
Wintertime in New York, man. Wintertime in New York on a bad day. Yeah, on a good day and a bad day.
The other songs, they're tight. They just don't put me there. But this, Mr. puts me there. That's the thing, you know. So yeah, you know. That was my life through Lost Boys, and unfortunately, you know, and fortunately, so with the passing of Freaky Tah, what happened to the Lost Boys? Mr. Cheeks ends up suffering a lot. That's his brother. I mean, from his mom, not like his brother from the streets. That's actually his brother. So it hits him really hard, and he gets involved with, you know, some hard drugs and some hard liquor.
Yeah, he was hitting the bottle really hard, dude.
And you know, he was doing it for a long time. And a lot of the other band members that were left, they weren't really on that level that he was. So, like, you know, the group kind of just went their own way. But when I say fortunately is because Freaky Tah's back, or not Freaky Tah, Mr. Cheeks is back, and he's doing his music. And, you know, I'm just really happy that, you know, he's back. I think he's still blazing. I don't think he's like, I don't think he's drinking like he used to, if he drinks at all, but he's back, you know. So check him out, you know, Mr. Cheeks. It's not the Lost Boys, but it is Mr. Cheeks. And, you know, Mr. Lost Boys is always, or Mr. Lost Boys is always with Mr. Cheeks. You know what I mean? Like, so.
No Mr. Cheeks, no Lost Boys for sure, yeah.
And I know Freaky Tah is always with him. So.
Y'all know why they call him Mr. Cheeks, right?
I don't.
Because when he raps, they call him that because when he would rap, he'd always like, he'd do this stuff with his cheeks when he would rap, you know? And so, like, and if you watch some of the videos, you can really see how he's like, you know, really just like cheeky, you know? And so they started calling him Mr. Cheeks. I thought that was an interesting little side note.
No, I had no idea. And I bought the album. Like, I don't even know where you got that information from, because I had read that booklet, like, front.
I can't remember where I saw it on an interview. This is like back in the day. Like, I mean, I think I listened to a record with 112 and Mr. Cheeks was on it. The 112 album was just out. And I think somewhere someone asked him, they're like, so why are you called Mr. Cheeks, man? And he explained it. He's like, because whenever I rap, you know, like I'm just a cheeky, he's cheeky. I always thought that was kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah. Me too. You know, we saw that touring, that Mr. Cheeks is touring, but we couldn't make it to the show. So, like,
oh yeah, that's
doing his thing, man, and he's keeping it alive, which is, you know, mad props to him, man. Mad props.
He ended up getting some decent loot and really kind of bouncing back when he did that Lights Camera Action record, that party joint. I'm talking Lights Camera Action. You got him saying, "I'm sorry, Miss Jackson." You remember that? Yeah. So like yeah, he's doing all right. It's the other guys that kind of went through like also like ultra hardships, because you know, the way record companies were grimy, and they still are, but like this is awful what they did. So they basically got four artists, and they made a contract for Mr. Cheeks and Freaky Taz, the writers, right? And they were like, you know, Spig Nice, Pretty Lou, they could make their money, you know, doing shows, you know, and they were fine. You know, they weren't making the same, they weren't eating the same kind of food, you know, Ta and Cheeks were eating, you know, like they weren't making the same kind of money. And after Freaky Ta died, you know, these guys, you know, they were still trying to tour and do their stuff. And you got Pretty Lou trying to do Freaky Ta's stuff. And he was never like a hype man. He was, you know, always a producer, DJ. And it just like fell apart, and they never got their money. And you know, apparently, you know, it got bad enough where even like Spig Nice got in with the wrong people, and dude went on a string of bank robberies, and he went to jail, and he was in there. He had 37 years. He actually just recently got out.
Yeah.
So like that whole thing is just completely nuts to me, man. Because to be that famous, to be that well known, and this is what it comes to. Like in record companies just don't care. It's disgusting, man.
No, and especially in the 90s, because you saw this with
NWA, TLC.
You saw this with so many artists. Even recently, going back to the 90s beef that they had was De La Soul. Like they didn't want to release the album through their record. They wanted to do like a GoFundMe type release the album, you know. So that's what I'm saying. And I guess with the technology now, everybody's doing the streaming thing. Everybody's independent. But in the 90s, that's all you had. These people knew that's all you had, and these people fucking took
vultures, man, took mad, knowing that also they were dealing with people that weren't as business oriented, that weren't as educated in how the you know these systems work and everything, and they just thank God they ran people through the coals, man. They raped people, put them right through the ring.
With record labels, you know what I mean? It's like everybody. So yeah, man. I'm glad things have gotten better, but it's still not good. You know what I mean?
But that's why everybody's doing the independent thing, because that money is theirs, you know?
Yeah. I mean, granted, always, even with the independent as well as the record label, you still get cents to a song, but you know, because you still have to.
It's harder to do
distribution and so on and so. But still, I'm under no contract with nobody. I don't have to do this, that, the other for anything. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. And I just wish that technology was around back in that time, and we would have had so much just volumes of great rap songs like Renee. You know what I mean? But yeah, like New York, 95, 96, that shit was popping. Lost Boys,
great era.
Lost Boys, I want to say Lost Boys and Das Effects have influence on how I dressed. So you know what I mean? Like, and I was a little kid. so yeah, man. No, like I said, I'm glad that Mr. Cheeks is doing his thing. You know, rest in peace to Freaky Ta and all the people that have died in the rap.
Yeah, man.
You know, from the young kids today that are, you know, getting shot, to, you know, back when the first, you know, like, who was it?
Cowboy, right? Like, I mean,
Cowboys. I mean, it goes on. I mean, and Coolio, man. Again, Coolio was just Coolio, and I love to see how many people loved Coolio. Like, when you go on Facebook, when you go on Twitter, when you go on Instagram, Coolio was loved, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just wish that a lot more people were a lot more knowledgeable about other MCs that had passed away to get the same respect, you know. But it is what it is. At least we respect me. So,
and that's why we are, and that's why we are here talking about it today, right? This is our opportunity. This is why we're doing what we're doing. So, with you know, looking at the clock, I want to make sure that we're following our time frame on time. I'm gonna play a quick little game here. Shouldn't take too long. A little trivia. And we're gonna start off with, we got 3 little segments. One of them's kind of already answered, I think, but we're gonna play singles only first. All right, singles only. All right. Aside from the hit single Renee, what other chart topping single is your favorite by the Lost Boys? Not just from Legal Drug Money, their entire catalog. So The Yearn, Lifestyles of the Rich and Shameless, Jeeps, Lex, Coups, Bimaz, Benz, Music Makes Me High, Get Up, Me and My Crazy World, That's I'm in Love with Two Women, Love, Peace, and Nappiness, What's Wrong, Ghetto Jiggy, LB Fam for Life. Which
your favorite?
Which one's your favorite? Which one's your favorite?
All right, I have to do two.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, three.
Ah.
I know it's pushing it, but Lifestyles of Rich and Famous, great song. It is amazing, and just that energy behind it is awesome. Then you have In Love with Two Women. That's just, I mean, come on, like that's, if you've been there, you've been there.
I think honestly, that's of all of like the singles, that's mine right there. I think that record just goes so hard. It's such a great beat. And it's like you said, I think at one point we've all like, even if it's just like an infatuation, but it's, you know, it's not necessarily like, love. You literally have two things going on at once. But I mean, that happens. I mean, we know people in our own circle that do that or have done that and dealt with it. But like, I mean, just your heart being like, you know, split.
Wow.
Everyone's done that.
The last one, and the reason I say this is because as a I go on what I hear musically. The music gets me high. Like the way they cut that sample, I don't know the sample. I can't put it right now in my head, but the way I know I've heard it before, and the way they cut it, I'm like, that's awesome. You know, that's one of my favorite musical like hip hop tracks. Like
it's got such a West Coast vibe to it, man. It's just a party record.
It does, and especially where he's like, there's like a little. I think it might be the video. I might be confusing with the other one, but it's where they got the bottle and they're dancing around the.
No, that's Me and My Crazy World, dog. That's Me and My Crazy World. So so apparently that's called like the LB slide. Like they got their own dance, like where they you know, slap hands and they circle around each other.
Yeah,
you know, you've seen it, right? Like, so that's apparently called the LB slide. And apparently people are still doing it, like whenever they do their shows and shit.
I didn't know that was a thing. That's awesome.
Yeah, Lost Boys got their own dance. They got their own handshake.
Yeah,
throwing the L's up, like that's their whole thing is throwing the L's up.
Yeah, man. No, and then even like when they got like with the later albums where they weren't wearing the Timbs and the big back,
so good.
But they were still wearing big sweatpants, which is something I wear today.
I still got two pairs of Timbs, man. I wear Timbs almost during the winter. I throw Timbs on all the time.
It's crazy because like Nas was like famous for that, but no, for me it was
Lost Boys. That was a big part of their style, man. And Mobb Deep had a little bit of that. You know, Wu had a little bit of that. Like, I mean, but that was just the New York as a whole in that '90s era. Like the Timbs was and the baggy sweatpants and all.
Being that we're on the East Coast, I think that had more influence on how we dress, even though we're not New York, like because
100%. Everybody here in Virginia was doing the same shit.
And we say son, you know.
Son, son, Thunny, Thun, Kiko, all that stuff, man.
So we ain't biters, we just respect, we pay homage.
No, it's homage. It's love is love, man. I mean, come on now. All right. So let's go into the deep cuts. The deep cuts, aside from the songs that garnered those chart positions and or music videos, what is your favorite record off of Legal Drug Money? And this is a shorter list. It's all right. It's all right. You know, Legal Drug Money is This the Part, Straight from the Ghetto, Keep It Real, Channel Zero, The Game, or 1, 2, 3.
That's my junks right there.
Yeah. I knew you were gonna say that. Now talk to me about that real quick.
That and actually, what was the other one? Well, no, that one's my main one. Okay, so it's Freaky Tar rapping the whole thing, and you listen to the lyrics, and there's this one. I'd have to look it up. There's this one line where he says in the hook, or I want to say it's in the hook. He's like, all I want to do is get on the boat and smoke chong and like basically leave your shit away and just go somewhere and do that and then come back to your problems. And that's like such a relatable song again to everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, what you listen to. That's one of those songs where I'm like, yeah, man. And It fucking hits, man. It hits. But yeah, that's my Jones.
I knew you were gonna say that. We talked about it offline, but I mean, for me, it's Channel Zero, dude. A bunch of reasons, tune into Channel Zero. Okay, so like this concept ends up being utilized by other rappers down the line. Cannabis had a tune into Channel Zero record, and it's just kind of like breaking down the news that isn't being heard or seen, right? And the beat is absolutely vicious. What he's talking about is absolutely heavy. And there's this one part, man, that always like kind of sticks out to me. I know the rest of the song is about some real serious shit, but he does a diss against Marky Mark on that record, man. And I just thought it was such a hard bar, at the time, because I mean, again, outside looking in, white rapper, supporter, fan, all that. He's talking about how, a white boy acting black, that shit kills me. He's like, fuck Marky Mark. That's right, I said that. He ain't never smoked no Buddha in the park. Like, dude, it's such a hot bar. And the thing is that this is just literally years before a guy like Eminem comes onto the scene. And this is how people felt. And a lot of folks don't realize it, man. I mean, it was what we have. We have Third Base. We really had Beastie Boys. That was about it, and outside of that, people were not allowing.
House of Pain was
there. And that was another one. That was another one that got the slide. But like, outside of that, dude, like, I mean, there was really like a stigma, like if you're white, you're not allowed here. You can buy, you can support by giving us money, but don't be singing this shit. Don't be dressing like this. Don't be talking or acting like this, because that ain't you. And it was just an interesting time, man. Because yeah, Good Vibrations, that was a big hit, man. That Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch did. That was a huge hit. But like, yeah. So and Lost Boys really went at him on that. I don't know why, but for me, that record is super good.
But that also brings about. I mean, I'm gonna be short, but I agree with you. At that time, people don't realize that hip hop was very segregated when it started. I mean, and not necessarily it was segregated between white and black. I mean, Latins, we were there, it was more accepted, but like if you were white, I remember you wouldn't be caught dead listening to hip hop. It was around white.
Oh man, you got judged on both sides, right? You want to be either way.
Both sides. So it was really like that. Like I attest to that. I mean, I was lucky, but I was also very, because I was Latin. I mean, I am Latin. Like it. I got my foot in both, like on both sides of the spectrum. Like, yeah, I'm accepted, but only to a certain degree. At the end of the 90s. Now it's whatever. But at that time, it was like I was still like, shoot, man. Like, I mean, there's Cypress Hill, there's Beatnuts, there's everybody else, but that's not me. I'm not them. So I gotta still prove that I gotta be with. You know what I mean?
It does. It gives a certain hunger to people, because you really got to show up and prove something.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was easier for me because I was like, well, it's more accepting that I'm into it than if I was walking around with a Guns N' Roses shirt and long hair, hanging out with white people. That wouldn't be accepted.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, I guess.
All right, and then we're gonna wrap this up here with who did it better. Okay, so we got so Legal Drug Money has two different versions of Lifestyles of the Rich and Shameless on the album. And which version is the best and why? All right, so the first one is the one that you said you already declared it. Easy Mo B, the one that's on the music video, the original. I'm gonna debate here and say Mr. Sex's remix at the ending. I think that shit's better.
Oh,
I think that's just better, dude. I think you're nuts. I love the original, but that beat is so cold and chilling on that remix, man.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. I'm not disregarding, but it doesn't put you there.
It puts me there, dude. It puts me there. It's almost more somber, like where I think the regular one is more grimy and like it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. But like the other one like changes the tone entirely. and it's rare because usually remixes are like whatever, but
Right.
this one really like I was like, it feels like an entirely different song.
Yeah, I think that's I think, I grew up with the original, and that's what that stuck in my head. You know what I
Ain't
mean?
salty.
After that, it's like everything's second tier after that for me. You know what I mean? Like,
ain't salty, man. Ain't salty at all. All right. So then, what about how about Renee? Which one was better, the single, the original, or the 1999 remix?
man, it goes. Everything goes back to how I said, man. Like what I grew up on. You know what I mean? Like
no fucking question.
No question.
There's no fucking question.
Oh, so I mean, I'm not, again, I don't negate the other ones, but that song puts me there. The other ones don't.
When I was listening to them, I was listening to the remixes and the originals on YouTube, right? And so in the comment sections, it's pretty wild because there are mad people when you're listening to the originals and the remixes where they're like, "This is my favorite version of the record," and you see that a lot. I just, nah, that dun. You can't compare it. You can't compare it.
You know what I'm going to be listening to right after we get off of this.
Fuck yeah. As a matter of fact, while we do these little final words, I do want to say, like, look, again, I have the Spotify account, Johnny Warbucks. For those who want to recapture the music behind what we're talking about, remember the record, episode 1, The Lost Boys, Renee. You can find that on Spotify right now. And I've got all the versions of Renee, including the instrumental at the ending. I've got all of the singles that Lost Boys has put out, and then the entirety of the remainder of Legal Drug Money. So it's a quick listen. It's like 2 hours, so spend it on your commute, and revisit this music. And you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You've heard us talk about it. Now go be about it and go and soak that up. That's what I'm gonna say. Johnny Warbucks on Spotify. Remember the record, episode 1, Lost Boys, Renee. That's me.
And we do a podcast where Johnny Warbucks is a guest as well. And you should check it out. It's called The Rapper's Corner. Right now it's on YouTube, but we're gonna put it on streaming real soon. And I am also an artist. My name is Kalishnikov Red. I know it's a long, hard name, but just think AK-47 automatic Kalishnikov. So Kalishnikov Red. And I'm on all the streaming sites, all that shit. So check me out. But check all of us out, man. We got a big family going on, and a lot of our homies are doing their things. Check out the podcast. You'll get all the links for our family. And check them all out for reals.
Yep, Johnny Warbucks. It's a party over here, available on Bandcamp. Free download. Donations are accepted and appreciated, but I'd rather you just listen to the album. Go over there and peep that as well. It's a party over here, Johnny Warbucks. That's it, man. That's our time, y'all. Listen, Red. What should we talk about next time we do this?
So I'm thinking, maybe Cypress.
Cypress Hill. Man, that sounds insane. We'll talk about it in a little bit, guys. Hey, listen, man. Have a good one, y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Peace out, guys.
Peace out. All right.